Welcome to Veronica Live, and I'm here. It's just Wingman John and I talking. I had to start recording it, John, because the craziness of, tomorrow is the debate, and so much is going on because Kamala dropped her policies today. And you were talking about, you were listening to Bongino, and what happened there?
Well, the Kamala Harris, she's trying to identify as black. Okay, so it's like you remember Hillary. It's I done hauled my way along here to have my hot sauce in my purse. All this fake identifying. So she's talking about how for the holidays she would get tasked with making the collard greens. Making the greens,
please,
she puts
please.
it, and
which I do love collard greens.
Yeah, so she'd make so much collard greens there, she'd have to do it in her bathtub.
Oh my!
She had to make them in her bathtub. She actually said this, okay? and of course, the internet exploded with stuff, and there was a black woman on the internet that came back, and this is an audio part there, and I was laughing so hard listening to this woman talking about this nasty Kamala Harris that, if she'd served her up collard greens made in the bathtub with all her toe jam and bathtub ring and crack stuff and on, I'd be calling the FBI, I'd be calling the CIA, I'd be calling my lawyer, I'd be getting me some TCMJ,
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it was so fun to listen to this.
No, it's like made up, John. Everything they talk about, even working at McDonald's, is made up. You know what I'm saying? What are these?
Yeah, well, she at least her husband actually did work at a McDonald's and actually has the correct language for the work they do there, right? As far as the frying machine, and you start, with washing dishes and all that and work your way up to the frying machine. And then the big job's getting to the grill, It's like, so, but she has none of that. And she's just like Biden. When Biden says not a joke, he's lying. Okay. That's a sign that whatever he's saying is a lie when he says not a joke. And she actually says, this is not a lie, and it's like she's lying because it's so fantastic, and she's just this horrible candidate, Veronica, and there's no way to overcome it.
No,
and she's
I don't understand this. How? And I put this on X because now I've been viewed 5.1 million times, and with all my comments and all the hate that comes along with it. And I put on there, how can we have a candidate that has never done but one interview, John? One interview, and Trump's now up to, I think, 46 or 50 or whatever it is. Who are Americans this dumb that you would vote in somebody you know nothing about?
Yes.
And then Bernie Sanders
absolutely.
came out this weekend and said, oh, well, she's going to say whatever it takes to get voted. So he even outed her. Bernie Sanders outed Miss Flip-Flopper.
Well, it's the yellow dog Democrat thing there. It's like they're so far bought into this, and I don't know if it's a psychological thing or whatever, but you can't break through to them. First off, you can't reason with them. Logic and facts have no effect. It's an emotional argument, okay? They're emotionally invested in the Democrat Party. They're emotionally invested. It doesn't matter. Kamala Harris is irrelevant, okay? Irrelevant. They're going to vote Democrat, period.
Yeah.
It could be the damn yellow,
No,
as
I mean,
said,
we
yellow
had
dog.
Ron Hart.
They're still going to vote.
Ron Hart said that. They all stick together. They're very disciplined. I mean, to tell the lie of Dementia Joe for 3 years, because I asked him today, and he said he's known for 3 years that Biden's had dementia. And they've been able to lie to us. And then when you see him, it came out he's been on vacation he's done like 4 years of vacation, more than like anybody else, all the days. And you see all these pictures of him on the beach.
He doesn't have no news conferences. He doesn't do news conferences.
No.
Here you got Trump. He'll get up there and talk for an hour, free form. Sean Hannity, pick somebody. He'll get up there. And the range of people that Trump talks to is astonishing. It's not just the Fox News people, okay? Because he does the Hannity, the Jesse Waters, the Levin, Brian Kilmeade. I mean, he does all those folks, but then he goes and he does all these other people, and they have nothing to do with Republic. Some of them don't have anything much to do with politics. The one where he was talking about addiction with his brother, and I can't remember the guy's name that he was talking to with the podcast, but he had been addicted to drugs and went through treatments and got clean and everything. And so he actually had a very humanized conversation about addiction.
But the left never listens to it, and why you would push this woman forward, I don't know. And the story I sent you today, Miranda Devine, that broke the Hunter laptop, she shared the New York Post version of it, and Biden was hell-bent on leaving Afghanistan, ignoring military advice, NATO objections, and Afghan pleas, House reports. So I want to tell people, because I commented on this, that as a military officer, this was so disappointing that he didn't listen to any of the advisors. And here's the thing: when I pass you the baton to, say, a wing, a battalion, it is now your wing, your battalion, your country,
right.
Not mine anymore. Right. Not mine. And here's the thing: all of these generals, it talks about. Let's see. Oh my goodness. So anyways, one of the main takeaways from the House Foreign Affairs Committee's more than 2-year investigation into America's chaotic, deadly Afghanistan withdrawal was that during his decades-long tenure as a Delaware U.S. Senator, 8 years as VP of the United States, and nearly 4 years as president, Mr. Biden has demonstrated distrust of America's military experts and advisors, and has prioritized politics and his personal legacy, which, what the hell is his legacy, over America's national security interests, it said in the 350-page report. So it continues here. His administration consistently lied to and misled the American public to try to convince it to support his consequences be damn view that the U.S. should swiftly end its 20-year war in Afghanistan. I mean, it continues on. No matter what the cost was, he's like, pull out.
Right. He wanted credit for pulling out of the war, and he didn't care what the cost was. And if anything went wrong, what does he do? He blames Trump. Well, Trump's the one that did the deal. Well, he had no obligation. It wasn't a treaty, okay? It wasn't, it was an executive order, basically, okay? I mean, whatever those negotiations were. And Biden was under no obligation whatsoever to comply with it, And as it was Trump, Trump said,
says here,
if you violate the deal, there's no deal,
Yep, the Doha
and they violated
agreement
the deal.
Made in 2020 held that the U.S. would withdraw its troops from Afghanistan if the Taliban met certain obligations. For example, the terrorist group was responsible for cutting ties with al-Qaeda and other terrorist organizations, ceasing attacks on U.S. and coalition troops, reducing violence against Afghan forces, and starting a negotiation with the Afghan government. But Biden's reckless, blind determination pushed aside the agreement's critical details, the document said. And I mean, it gets worse when you continue reading this. Everybody advised him not to do this, John. All of the advisors, all of them said, "Don't do this." Well, and he did it anyways.
It's like the Bagram, right? The Bagram Air Force Base was. I remember reading that story in the Wall Street Journal. They literally pulled out overnight, Veronica, with no warning, no discussion. I mean, it was amazing to read this piece there, and they're talking about some of the Afghan people that worked on the base. They went home one night, and they came back the next morning, and all the U.S. troops and stuff was gone, literally overnight, was gone. There was nobody there. Nobody knew what was going on.
And there was no civilian plan that the military always has in some sort of withdrawal like this. And that was the thing. Americans, right. Then there was Afghanis that were like translators that dedicated themselves to America, left hanging. And the article, it's gruesome.
Literally hanging.
I was trying to read the report, but I think the whole world's trying to read the report that I couldn't open it. You know how sometimes when something's just released, the whole world's, downloading it. So I wasn't able to get into the 350-page document, but I definitely want to read it because all the news stories I mean, they're lighting Biden up, and he ignored everybody. And what is his legacy going to be? I'm going to remember him as a dementia patient. That's what I see the legacy. And then the Afghanistan pullout, and then not even caring about these 13 people.
To me, Biden's legacy is he's now a worse president than Jimmy Carter.
I know, right?
That one too.
That one too. And, so Jimmy Carter seems like a sweet little thing, you know.
I know.
And people, all these.
At least Jimmy Carter, was a nuclear power engineer, and unfortunately he was relying on who was it, Amy, his daughter, for advice on nuclear weapons proliferation.
Oh, that's right. I couldn't even say that word. I was young. I was like I think I was a brand new middle schooler. I'm like, what is that word? Well, I don't know what his legacy is, and how telling that this report comes out, 2 days before the debate, and will it be buried? You know what I'm saying? I hope the whole world is talking about it, all the news organizations.
No, they're not going to talk about it because it makes Harris look bad. She was the last one in the room with Biden, right? When the decisions are being made, she's the last one there. Except when the decisions are bad, then maybe she's not there. I don't know. The things I've read, everything I've read over the years, up till she got the nod by whoever to become the candidate, was she wasn't included in anything. They purposely left her out of every major decision. Kamala Harris was not in the room, wasn't aware of what was going on, and wasn't invited to come. So that was the story before she got nominated. Now it's like, oh, she's the last one in the room with Joe, and the two of them are huddled and conferring. Joe hates her, okay? and the White House staff hates her, and her own staff.
Well, 92% of her staff have quit. So, I mean, we've all worked with toxic people, but I've never seen 92% of turnover.
What's her reputation, Veronica? Her reputation is she's never prepared. They give her the briefing book, she ignores it, tries to wing it, and then when it blows up in her face, she blames her staff. She has no ability to reflect back on her own actions, her own problems, and try to self-correct. That's the dangerous part about Kamala Harris. She has no self-correcting mechanism. And I mean, if it comes down to her greatest achievement is her ability to control her cackle at inappropriate times, which apparently I guess she's doing a little bit better job of that because I've watched for that. So when she gets up there. And it's her nervous, right? It's her nervous thing, and she starts to cackle, and she catches herself now, and she stops. So she's very self-conscious. She knows she's been told don't get up there and start laughing, and when she starts laughing, then it's like you can see it. I mean, it's so obvious that she catches herself, and then she's got to do something. I don't know what her brain's doing, but it's trying to divert from that laugh.
Well,
have you noticed that she cackles just like Hillary Clinton? I mean, they sound identical. They sound identical. I mean, maybe there's a little voice box planted in them. I don't know.
Well, we had that spy on. I can't even think of his name. I follow him on X. Is Clandestine is his. He wrote a book. We had him on. It's a wonderful book. Cannot think of what his real name is right now, and he doesn't have it on his X. But he just released that we're just waiting for the debate at this point. It all comes down to whether or not Kamala can put on a decent performance and generate some sort of momentum for the Dems. If she has a bad performance, I wouldn't be surprised if the media turns on Kamala like they did Biden and we see a new candidate placed at the top of the ticket after Kamala is told to step down. He wrote, she's fighting for her political life tomorrow night, and she's going into a cage match with the most experienced presidential debater in U.S. history, Donald J. Trump. The Dems won't admit it, but they are terrified. I mean, I don't think they will replace her. I don't think they replace her.
Well, they won't. They can't replace her because you can't fix the ballot problem. The ballots are already going out. Okay, so that's off the table. What I think's really going on, Veronica, is I think the Democrats, we're talking Nancy Pelosi here. Okay, this is the Nancy Pelosi show. Make no doubt about it. Okay, Nancy
That
Pelosi's
woman's a
one running
power
stuff.
player. I'm telling you.
Oh, when she said she was a master politician, she wasn't joking. Okay,
Yeah,
she runs
I
the
agree.
Democrat
I
Party,
agree with you.
and she runs it with the iron fist. Okay, so I have no doubt that she's there. I think what the decision was between her and Chuck Schumer was, we need to defend the House and the Senate so we don't get our clocks cleaned, and we're willing to write off the presidency this go round. I think that's exactly what happened. The same calculus. That's why Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan, why she bailed out, while Josh Shapiro, while they wanted him, my understanding was he told them no, because they see the damage that's going to happen, and they don't want to get swept up in the hurricane and ruin their political careers over trying to push Kamala Harris.
Because they all have
legacies
exactly too. They all have legacies too.
Right. I think the decision has been made is if she wins, she wins. That'd be great. But we're going to protect our turf, which is the House and the Senate, and the down ballot races. Okay. Don't forget that.
I'm going to be texting you during the debate because I'm sure it's going to be insane. And then who knows what's going to happen? But then we got a lot of breaking news, and then we're going to wrap here because we've got another interview in the queue. But the mayor of New York City just came down with COVID. How convenient, John, because they're rating everybody that works for him. So
yeah.
Oops. And then Harry
is he gonna quarantine himself for a year? I hope
probably. And then Harry Weinstein has just been rushed off to heart surgery, which that guy's a piece. You know, how many people in Hollywood turn their eye and let him rape all these women and do whatever he wants? These women were just candy to him. And then the other sad note, I don't know if you saw this, Mark Levin fell yesterday and tore his quadricep and is going to have major surgery. So this is a huge voice for Trump and the Republican Party and Israel and Jews. And I'm so sad. So I'm sending my, hearts and prayers out to Mark Levin because of all the time and he's got health issues already with his heart. So I'm very worried about him. So we got to pray for him. And then right before we came on too, Princess of Wales just released a beautiful video with her family saying that she's ended her cancer treatment. And I think we're going to start seeing her more. So I pray for her success of that because, we need something beautiful and, joyous. It's definitely not our American politics.
You can't let politics, right? You can't let politics get you depressed because life is too short and too wonderful to put up with all these political clowns that are all self-serving and overly ambitious, So keep your perspective, folks.
Well, and football is alive and well, people. And this weekend, oh my gosh! Well, Tom Brady made his debut. They're paying him $375 million. And before he even made his debut, I told my husband, I was like, he's very whiny. I don't know how he's going to be able to do it. So we tuned in for that game. Which, oh, by the way, at one point my husband had 5 games going. I thought I was going to pass out. Last year, the TV was able to do 8. This year, with the new whoever's pushing him out, it was 5. So 5, John, 5. I'm like, please, this is I'm like a widow in my own house. But I tuned into Tom Brady.
No attention deficit disorder there.
Tom Brady, he was not very good. The guy, whoever was co-emceeing would blah, 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 throw him the football, expecting him to talk, and he wouldn't say anything, which we know in this business, because I've been in this business almost 4 years now. In the beginning, it is a little scary and hard, but it was so much hype leading up to this weekend that was funny. And then, I don't know, did you watch the Notre Dame? And I'm trying to see what the team was that they played. Oh my gosh, Notre Dame football,
I heard it was a blowout.
Got their arses handed to them to Northern Illinois University. And so they won at the end 16-14 with a kick, and at the end, oh my gosh, it was so adorable. This is why Americans love sports, because they were interviewing the coach. He's crying, the team, this is so great, because Notre Dame paid him $1 million to come to the Notre Dame. I don't even know what they call their swamp, but so that they could kick their ass. And then here's this little team, a nobody, not even a top 10, 20, whooped Notre Dame. And it was funny. They were panning the stadium, and like all of the Illinois people were crying. And then the Notre Dame people were they were stunned with their mouths open, but it was so beautiful. So, you should go Google that and see that coach's speech.
I watched a little bit of Nebraska putting a beating on Colorado. that was
I
bad.
know, and I like
really
Dion, so because it was such a cool.
Coach
remember
Prime.
Last year I watched a game till 2:30 in the morning. I thought I was going to die then, because football comes and it takes over apparently men's lives. So, anyways, some great games, and this has just been a quick roundup with John on Veronica Live. So, thanks for joining us.